Jordan as the #1 Game 6 performance
list
of all time.
He's so excited.
That was a great list.
So we always talk
so
about
excited.
Game 7s, right? Like the Game 6s. You remember Isaiah in '88. Zeke, if you're watching this morning, we will never forget it. If they had won that game, it would have been higher on the list. That said, what do we have in store tonight in this Game 6?
Not only is this a must-win Game 6, but this has to be a must-remember game for the soul of the franchise.
For the Knicks.
For the Knicks. The soul of the franchise is Jalen Brunson. After every loss in the playoffs, this dude is averaging 36.5 points per game after losses. And this is one of those moments in a series where at home, the environment is going to be off the chart screening. And be honest with you, man, like, this has to be the hit moment. This is the Game 7 in Game 6. And Jalen Brunson, Captain Clutch, it is built for him to rise in this game.
Is it? Is tonight Brunson's
it has to be.
night? Does tonight, Chiney, do you believe tonight is the night for Captain Clutch?
So I was having conversations walking the streets of New York, and I said, like, if Jalen Brunson delivers and wins Game 6, he's going to be goated. And many New Yorkers were like, no, he's already goated for what he's done, which is kind of ironic. But I do think that the key here is keeping it close. They have won all 3 clutch games in this series. They have the clutch player of the year. As long as they're in, what do they say? Like, I don't want to say spitting's distance, because that's not cute. But like, you know what I mean? But like, if
sniffing
they're close,
distance. Whatever distance is close. I don't know.
If they keep it close, they have the best
distance,
shot.
But what is the expression?
It's definitely not sniffing distance.
Yeah, it's
whatever that.
But no, you're right. Like, I look at this squad, and we are in the modern NBA, where players rule, but also there's a reset where teams are now restructuring, valuing basketball for the future. You could not have more of a quintessential type of New York Knicks type of player and squad than this current squad. They don't care about the bright lights. They love to hoop. They love to win, and they love to do it the right way. And if they win in this moment and get themselves to the Eastern Conference Finals, this will be a moment that is truly goated.
Something interesting happened the other night at the Garden in Boston. I don't think this was on TV. This was only seen in the arena. Jalen Brunson, as you know, fouled out in the fourth quarter, 6 minutes to go. The game was in hand for the Celtics. Gino, they played Gino on the scoreboard. And late in the game, just to jeer him, they put Jalen Brunson on the Jumbotron. And Brunson just smiled. He's like, all right. I'll never forget that moment, because I think he was like, okay, I'll see you on Friday. So he had an off game. He gets 5 fouls in the third quarter. Everything about that game was unusual for him. He's so mentally tough. And you never see Jalen Brunson smile, ever, ever. He scores 50, he doesn't smile. Jalen Brunson was smiling. It would have given me chills if I was the Celtics.
But Greeny, if you lose this game at home, all that magic, all that momentum, that fades so quickly.
Yeah.
Very fast.
Yeah, I know.
Game 7.
So here's what I want to get to. Nothing in this series has made sense. Windy said it exactly right. Everything that has happened in this series has been the opposite of what I thought was going to happen. Let's at least say, has it made sense? I haven't seen it coming. It seems too easy for me to say, oh, tonight Jalen Brunson goes for 40 and the Knicks win. Something else has to happen for the Knicks to win. Who is that someone?
I mean, it'd be nice for OG to make some shots. It'd be nice for Mikal Bridges to play well.
The other night was the Luke Cornett game, right? Game 5, if the Celtics come back and win this series, then this series will always be remembered for the Luke Cornett game. Who will that game be tonight?
I don't want to put the cart ahead of the horse, because you're projecting NBA Finals scenarios, and we have the opportunity to say we're the biggest trade that we've seen in a long time. I'm not talking Luka Doncic, Karl-Anthony Towns, Julius Randle. How did it materialize?
Right.
It looks like it's winning on both sides. To me, it's Cat. It's Cat. If you look at his three-point shot, he's the self-proclaimed best shooting big man, right? But he hasn't necessarily needed to make threes for them to be successful. If he puts it all together, that will help the Knicks. I have loved what he's done defensively. I think he's held his opponents to like 25% shooting defensively. We roasted Cat for drop coverage, for not wanting to go up there and challenge shooters. He is doing that this series, check mark. He's also getting himself in the paint. I love the mismatches that he's hunting, posting up. Like, you've seen flashes of greatness in the paint. If he adds the perimeter, if he's able to dominate on all aspects of the court, that will be the best case scenario, because there's a lot riding on Jalen Brunson. If Cat, this is the reason why you made the trade. To deliver in moments like this. If he can show up, that will be huge as well.
Listen, it would be a delight. The question is, does he pick up his traditional third foul in the second quarter? That's like a tradition unlike any other. I said it yesterday. Jim Nantz should narrate it when it actually happens. Oh, there it is. There's his third foul in the second quarter.
He's always very surprised when it happens.
Let's put the picks up on this. Oh, no, this is terrible.
See, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about.
one of them. I don't care which one.
I volunteer as tribute.
Change hers. Change something. We cannot, Cindy. I cannot live in a world where that's on the screen. That is not going to end well.
The Jets Knicks anxiety that you have for this moment is not great.
It doesn't end well. All right. Well, we'll try and flip it at some point by the end of the day because that's this thing. We also have very nervous. Oh, am I being told we can do it? Yeah. Go ahead.
Come on.
Change everything.
Magic.
No. We got the football guys. Okay. We'll see. The football squad wants to chime in on the game as well. Everyone is wrapped up in all of this. Traeger is a crazy Knick fan. He's more neurotic than anyone I know. Who wins tonight?
I'm nervous, sick about this. I don't want to see any Johnny-come-latelys. I don't need Stephon Diggs courtside. Give me Knicks fans, Action Bronson, Matthew Modine, Jerry Ferrara, and give me the Knicks in 6. Let's go.
What do you think?
I'm not going to list any celebrities, but Luke Cornett's not going to have another game like that. Knicks will take care of this.
Nate.
Yeah, it's definitely Knicks. Jalen Brunson's been incredible for the last 2 playoffs in a row, last 2 regular seasons in a row. He's one of the best players in basketball and still somehow underappreciated. Brunson gets it done.
I don't like seeing this.
I don't like any of this. Wendy just yelled out, I don't know if you could hear it, that he just booked his train for Game 7. There's only one hard, fast rule in life. When everyone thinks something is going to happen, it doesn't. We'll find out. Game 6, say you win, man.
Chill out, Knicks fans. Trust your team. This team's trademark is how mentally strong they are. I actually think the Knicks are in a much better position for this game than they were in Game 5, and not just because they're in the Garden tonight. They weren't sure how the Celtics were going to attack them in Game 5. They got used to playing them a certain way. They really changed their strategy. Jaylen Brown became a point forward.
Yep.
He had more assists in this game than any game in his career. They were double teaming him. He was spraying out to the three-pointers, and they were making the three-pointers. Look, if the Celtics make their threes, the Knicks are going to be in trouble. But the Knicks will come into this game with a much better prepared game plan for how the Celtics are going to go at them.
And by the way, in 8, this is what the Garden was built for. Madison Square Garden wasn't built for comfort. It was built for a confrontation. I mean, embrace the storm. That's what you want here. This is what this moment is about, Greeny. It's not an 8. Like, this is a 10, and it should be a 10 because everybody's going to play like a 10 because it's really a Game 7, it feels like.
Yeah, it has that feeling here.
Yes.
I think when Tatum went down in the Garden, I think the Knicks fans felt like, oh my God, the Knicks are going to win this thing, and then everything goes sideways on them on Wednesday night. Let's go back to Wendy's point strategically, because I could see you nodding. The Knicks expected Jaylen Brown to try and go Superman and score 50 against them. Instead, he went point forward, and that seems to have thrown them off.
Well, the original Superman that we're seeing on the commercials is Jason Tatum. And when he's out of the game, someone that gives you 30 points per game, and someone that's one of the most elite isolation scorers, sometimes you can stop and wait, and it makes your offense stagnant. Now, without him, now you're seeing them, they're less dribbling, they're doing less dribbling, and they're doing more passing. They're doing less thinking, and they're doing more shooting, especially in transition. This was a Derek White game. He was hitting like shots in the maybe first 20 seconds of the shot clock because they understood that we had to operate on a string. As you mentioned, those assists, I think that was not accounted for in the game plan by the Knicks. But now they have to look at Jaylen Brown and say, all right, we have to disrupt this man. So I was really impressed with how the Boston Celtics responded, more so because they understood that they had to rely on each other and not think as much and just play.
Are you going to go to the shoot around today? If you mention to the Knicks that there's a guy who wears the number 9 on the Celtics they might want to consider covering.
Well,
Jay did a great job
Transition
yesterday.
defense was a really big thing. They lost him constantly.
How do you let Derek White shoot uncontested threes in the corner? That was mind-boggling. I don't care what Jaylen Brown is doing. The idea that they let that guy, who has been tremendous in this series, Derek White is terrific and absolutely as clutch as it can be. He was shooting shots so open he could make a sandwich before he threw it.
If you watch the strategy the Knicks had, the Knicks were really trying to bring pressure to Jaylen Brown as he would go towards the basket. They used that against them. A lot of times, White's defender was helping off to try to defend Jaylen Brown. They were concerned, clearly, that Brown was going to try to play the Jason Tatum role. He didn't, and so now they adjust. I really think that the Knicks are holding a much better hand in this game than they were in Game 5.
But also, think about how the Knicks tried to bait Boston into playing ISO basketball, where they would take up a lot of those ISO threes, and when they went the other way, it was hard for them to adjust. But I would agree with Wendy. Tonight's all about the Knicks. I think the Knicks win this game.
So let me say something that Wendy said in the meeting this morning. You said the team that you expected to win, they've played 5 games in this series. The team you expected to win has lost every one of them, and that's true. Yeah. Going into it,
Oh, no.
The opposite has happened. So I don't know what to expect tonight. That's the problem. Because I genuinely have no. What do you expect tonight?
I don't want to say it because then maybe I'm jinxing. So there's beautiful wood right here. I'm going to knock right here. I mean, Knicks in 6 sounds better than Knicks in 7. I believe it's the Knicks game. This is a must-win game. This is, like you said, their game 7. You know, a lot of people want to talk about Jalen Brunson, right? To me, it's not that. The games that they have lost, you haven't heard during the broadcast them talk about OG Anunoby. Like those types of X factors. You've seen him have a playoff career high in game 1, 29. Then he'll drop to 5 or 6 or 7 points. Then will explode. Like, you need him to be his best version of himself. It's the role players for the Knicks that you have to keep an eye on. Josh Hart continuing to have confidence. You know, Mikal Bridges has been great, especially when we talk about the Knicks and the non-Jalen Brunson minutes, right? Like, he has helped them win those instances. That will win you the game.
And then there's the Luke Cornett factor. Who would have imagined we'd be talking about that going into a game 6? All right, we'll have much more on this game as we continue. Let me take a quick break.
Rồi tiếp tục móc xuống nữa. Đấy, mọi người móc lần lượt vào như này là được. Mình móc vòng quanh từng mũi một nhá.